Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very pleasant evening to you. Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News, reaching you live from our live studio here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Abosedi Omowe. Here are our top stories. Thanks so much for joining us. Now to details of the news. The end may not have been heard about the $2.1 billion arms scandal deal, as President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to investigate the former Chief of Defense Staff, Chiefs of Air Staff, and some other top military brass, both retired and serving, who have been indicted for misconduct following an investigative panel report which audited the procurement of arms and equipment in the armed forces and defense sector from 2007 to 2015. In a statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Muhammadu Buhari wants the EFCC to investigate the roles of the officers and the following companies and their directors in the fundamental breaches associated with the procurement by the Office of the National Security Advisor and the Nigerian Air Force. The officers recommended for investigation are the following: Air Chief Marshal A.S. Bade, Air Marshal M.D. Umar, retired; Air Marshal A.M. Amosu, retired; Major General E.R. Chioba, retired; Air Vice Marshal R.A. Balogun, retired; Air Vice Marshal A.G. Saka, retired; Air Vice Marshal A.G. Dowu, retired; Air Vice Marshal A.M. Mamu, Air Vice Marshal O.T. Oguntoyinbo, Air Vice Marshal T. Umeyi, Air Vice Marshal J.B. Adigun, Air Vice Marshal R.A. Ojuawu, Air Vice Marshal Ja Kayode Beckley, Air Commodore S.A. Yushao, retired; Air Commodore A.O. Ogunjobi, Air Commodore G.M.D. Guani, Air Commodore S.O. Makinde, Air Commodore A.Y. Lassa, Colonel N. Ashinze, Lieutenant Colonel M.S. Dasuki, retired. The companies and their directors to be investigated include the following: Messrs. Associated Equipment International, Himma Abubakar; Aeronautical Engineering and Technical Services Limited, Messrs. Serious Technologies, Dr. Theresa A. Itu; Sky Exports Nigeria Limited, Omeyi Fine Tony Huzi Nigeria Limited, GAT Technodynamics Limited, Bujie Peter Obie, Henri Samuel Ugochukwu, Space Webs Inter-Services Limited, Oguntoyinbo Tayo, Oguntoyinbo Fumi, Delphina Oil and Gas Limited, Chief Jacobs Bola, Mono Marine Corporation Nigeria Limited, Gionel Integrated Services Limited, Saki Felicia, Mudaki Polycarp, Wolfgang Reino. Some of the breaches identified by the audit committee include non-specification of the procurement cost, absence of contract agreement, award of contracts beyond authorized threshold, transfer of public funds for unidentified purposes, and general non-adherence to the provisions of the Public Procurement Act. The procurement processes were arbitrarily carried out and generally characterized by irregularities and fraud. In many cases, the procured items failed to meet the purposes they were procured for, especially the counterinsurgency effort in the Northeast. Another major procurement activity undertaken by ONSA for NAF was that concerning the contract awarded to Societe d'Equipment International, Nigeria Limited, between January 2014 and February 2015. NAF awarded 10 contracts totaling $930,500,690 to Say Nigeria Limited. The report also notes that the letters of award and end-user certificate for all the contracts issued by NAF and ONSA respectively did not reflect the contract terms. Rather, these were only found in the vendor's invoices, all dated 19th March 2015. Additionally, some of the award letters contained misleading delivery dates, suggesting fraudulent intent in the award process. The award discrepancies are in clear contravention of extant procurement regulations. For example, the SEI contract included procurement of 2 used Mi-24V helicopters instead of the recommended Mi-35M series at the cost of $136,944,000. It was, however, confirmed that the helicopters were excessively priced and not operationally airworthy at the time of delivery. A brand new unit of such helicopters is sold for about $30 million. The report also notes that the helicopters were delivered without rotor blades and upgrade accessories. Additionally, the helicopters were said to be undergoing upgrades while being deployed for operation in the Northeast without proper documentation. It further establishes that as at date, only one of the helicopters is in service, while the other crashed and claims the lives of 2 NAF personnel. Besides the helicopters, another area where the Arms Procurement Investigative Audit Committee found discrepancies is in the purchase of 4 used Alpha jets for the NAF at the cost of $7,180,000. It was, however, confirmed that only 2 of the Alpha jet aircraft were ferried to Nigeria after cannibalization of engines from NAF fleet. This is contrary to the written assertion of the former Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal A.N. Amosu, to the former NSA that all the 4 procured Alpha jet aircraft were delivered to the NAF. The non-militarization of the Alpha jets made them unsuitable for deployment to the Northeast, and they are currently deployed only for training at NAF Kenji. Furthermore, the procurement of the Alpha jet was contrary to the recommendation of the assessment team. The committee found that the conduct of Air Marshal Amosu was deliberately misleading and unpatriotic. Another revelation of the contract scam is the procurement of 36D6 low-level air defense radar for the NAF was awarded to GATS Techno Dynamics Limited in April 2014 at the cost of $33 million and was funded by ONSA. The committee established that the radars were excessively priced, as a complete set of such radars comprising 6 radars including the control center goes for $6 million averagely. The committee observed that the radars were delivered without the vital component of identification, FREN or F4E IFF, aircraft that distinguishes between own and adversary aircraft, which has significantly degraded the operational capabilities of the NAF in the Northeast. It was also observed that the sum of $3,300,000 was fraudulently included in the contract agreement as VAT and holding tax and subsequently paid into the bank accounts of SpaceWebs Inter-Services Limited and Delphina Oil and Gas Limited. The committee also established that $2 million from the proceeds was transferred to Mono Marine Corporation Nigeria Limited, which is jointly owned by principal characters in this deal. The committee opines that the infractions of extant regulations by these companies were clearly intended to defraud. It was established that between September 2009 and May 2015, the NAF expended about 15 billion naira on the maintenance of its Alpha jets, C-130H aircraft, and Mi-24V-35P helicopters. Out of this amount, 4,402,687,569 naira 41 kobo was paid out for contracts not executed. It was also observed that in carrying out these maintenance activities, contracts worth over 2,500 million naira were awarded to Sirius Technologies, a Ukrainian company that was not registered in Nigeria. Regrettably, in spite of these expenditures, the status of NAV fleet remained operationally appalling, as only 3 Alpha jets, 2 C-130H and 1 each of Mi-24V and Mi-35P was serviceable as of 28 May 2015. In October 2013, NAV awarded contracts to Daikon for the supply of weapons and ammunition at the cost of 599,118,000 naira. However, only 2 of the 7 items contracted were delivered to NAV, while the outstanding 5 items remained undelivered despite repeated requests to Daikon. It will be recalled that in its first interim report, the Committee on Audit of Defense Equipment established that the sum of 643 billion naira and 2,100 million US dollars interventions were received for defense procurement by DHQ and the services between 2007 and 2015. In continuation of its assignments, the committee has so far established that the nation spent about 29 billion naira and 2 billion on NAV procurement activities alone. And moving away from there, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration will continue to provide equipment and logistics to make the task of protecting the nation's sovereignty easy for armed forces. The president affirmed this during the grand finale of the 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebrations. State House correspondent Abiola Oluwole has more on the story.
President Muhammadu Buhari, heralded by his court of the mounted troop and pipers, arrived at 2 minutes past 10 a.m. to kickstart the 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebrations. The inspection of the regiments of the Nigerian Army by the President was followed with a minute's silence in honor of the fallen heroes of the country. Thereafter, the President led top government functionaries, service chiefs, and others in the wreath-laying ceremony to honor the fallen heroes. Addressing the troops, President Buhari reiterates the commitment of his administration at providing the needed equipment that will ease the task of protecting the nation for the military.
We are all concerned here about their performance as much as the rest of the nation, and that I hope they are in touch with their respective families back at home, and I hope everybody is fine. I assure you the government is doing its best to make sure that they are provided with the best that is possible in terms of military hardware and efficiency in logistics. That's your pay and allowances so that your families will be happy back in the barracks.
While Mr. President is releasing the pigeons, cage has been opened.
Speaking to journalists, Senate President Bukola Saraki commended the role of the armed forces at keeping the nation united.
Well, all the peace we have is because of them. And I think it's nothing too much for us to be seen to showing this respect, honor to the troops. And I think I want to also on our nation will convey our honor to the family of those who have sacrificed.
The wreath-laying by President Muhammadu Buhari and other top government functionaries marks the climax of the year 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. From the cenotaph of the fallen heroes of the country, I'm Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News.
And still on the 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration, the governor of Lagos State has emphasized the need for the struggle of Biafra to end, as what makes Nigeria is the unity in our diversity. Speaking at the 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day ceremony, Governor Ambode urged Nigerians to embrace peace and unity and remember the fallen heroes of the Civil War. The report.
I just want to advise Nigerians, the unity of Nigeria is more important than anything that you can think of. It's only when we're united that we can make progress. And that's where we're saying we're so particular about development of this country. The country is bigger than any individual.
Now, Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State says it is imperative that the sacrifices and patriotism of the fallen soldiers be duly recognized in order to motivate the serving ones to do their best in the defense of the country. This is just as he calls for prompt and regular payment of retired soldiers' pensions and emolument, saying it is nothing compared to what they had sacrificed in line of duties. Aregbesola was speaking at an event organized to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day, held at the Military Center in Osogbo, the state capital. The governor, who lauded President Muhammadu Buhari's effort at motivating the armed forces towards strengthening the fight against the insecurity ravaging the country, urged him to ensure that those involved in the arms deal scandal, which face the full wrath of law when found guilty for sabotaging the war against Boko Haram. The governor also wants the celebration of Armed Forces Day to go beyond recognizing the fallen heroes to appreciating the serving soldiers. And moving away from there, the Ekiti State Legion and government joined all the counterparts to commemorate the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. As the nation faces the Boko Haram menace, the State Legion seeks better package for retirees in order to serve as motivation for those still in service. Rashid has more.
50 years after, echoes of the first coup in January 15, 1966 and the subsequent events that followed still reverberate in the course of Nigeria's existence. And on the 15th of January every year, the nation remembers these fallen heroes who paid the supreme price for the oneness of Nigeria. One after the other, events lined up for the day were undertaken by government functionaries, traditional rulers, alongside retired and serving military officers. Laying the wreath among other functions, the Ekiti State government sees for peace in the country and support for the families of the fallen heroes.
To stand up and then support the families of these beloved ones, these fallen heroes who have sacrificed maximally, even for the unity of this country, for the security of the people of Nigeria.
While the nation battles insurgency, head of the ex-servicemen in Ekiti State asked the government to pay up the arrears of the retired soldiers to serve as motivation for the serving ones.
Government should encourage those of us who are alive by giving us our entitlements, pay our pension as at when due, pay the arrears of pension they've been owing us. This will even encourage those who are serving right now, because they know they will not, when they retire, they will not retire into poverty.
As Nigeria remembers fallen heroes, the welfare of soldiers still in service is expected to be given top priority now that insurgent activities is being tackled by these brave men. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Now to Taraba State, where the Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Jalingo, the Taraba State capital, was devoid of the usual parade by men of the Nigerian Army and the blowing of the last post, which is a tribute to fallen heroes after the Nigerian Civil War. But this did not take the shine off the celebration, with the state governor, Darius Ishaku, describing men of the Nigerian Legion who mounted the guard of honor as men of valor, who sacrificed their lives for the unity and survival of Nigeria. Udwa Godwin brings us details.
Without the usual parade of the Nigerian Army, yet the 2016 Armed Forces Day was marked in Taraba in honor of the fallen heroes. Taraba State Governor, represented by his deputy, said this 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day is unique as the soldiers still in action have sacrificed their lives by peacekeeping and fighting of insurgents in Nigeria.
While we celebrate our gallant men and women, let's take a moment to remember the plight of the loved ones they leave behind, women and children. Distinguished members of the Nigerian Legion, it is the intention of this government to give you all the necessary support despite our limited resources.
On his part, the state chairman, Nigerian Legion, emphasized the need for adequate support and welfare to the retired army and relatives of the fallen heroes.
Our widows require an urgent assistance from the government, sir. These widows suffered financial hardship in taking care of children under their care. This, I requested the state government to give the skilled accommodation training enhance their livelihood. Please help, sir.
In the submission, some of the legionnaires enjoined those still in service of the fatherland to be dedicated and uphold the tenets of the Nigerian army.
My humble prayer to them that they should take care of themselves and the country and let the country become one.
I pray that as the Jalingo ex-servicemen who compose themselves in the peace of this Jalingo, I want every ex-serviceman to compose himself like that.
I'm begging my men and my boys in the jungle to stand and face the battle so that at the end of it, after retirement, they will enjoy their service.
The Armed Forces Day is set aside in remembrance of the fallen heroes of the Civil War. Udwa Godwin, CoreTV News, Jalingo.
Now, Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ulisametu, to be remanded in Kuje prison pending hearing of his bail application. Details of the story and many more after this timeout. To stay with us.
Whenever you recharge your Airtel line, you could win a trip to Dubai for yourself and your family members or closest pals. Win one of 60 trips for 4 to Dubai in the Airtel Red Hot promo. Now that's a trip for 240 people. You could also be one of the 60 instant millionaires. Win smartphones and airtime. Everyone is a winner. Keep recharging to win in the Airtel Red Hot promo with Emirates Holidays.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
For topical issues, Nigerians must have something to say.
Arms. We don't need arms for anything. Let them put it into education.
They need to buy another arms now. What are they fighting for? Who? Government should deal with them squarely.
Please help us bring back our guests. No money, no markets. We are dying. Everybody is crying. Nothing.
Any man God support, no man stops.
It's a prophecy I believe he must have received from heaven. Yes.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching CoreTV Primetime News. All our top stories and other information are on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News, and on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. Now, quick reminder of our top stories. Thanks so much for being there. Now to the rest of the stories. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Ulisametu, to be remanded in Kuje prison pending hearing of his bail application. Justice Okon Abang gave the order after the PDP spokesperson pleaded not guilty to the 7 counts of money laundering preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Metu is being prosecuted by the anti-graft agency for allegedly collecting 400 million naira meant for the procurement of arms from the office of the former National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki. Our judiciary correspondent Basi Lukafo has more in this report. We'll bring you details of that in our subsequent bulletins. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered PDP spokesman Metu to be remanded in Kuje prison. Okay, that's the story we just brought to you. We move away from that and to this. Well, Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the National Publicity Secretary has ordered PDP spokesman Metu to be remanded in Kuje prison. Same story coming over again. I will move away from there and we talk about mixed reactions continuing to trail the alleged error and the 2016 appropriation bill. Now, speaking on our flagship program, Core Digest, these analysts are of the opinion that the Senate should verify the truth and ratify the budget. Our correspondent Victoria Solomon has details of this report.
Rumblings over the whereabouts of the 2016 budget proposal of the federal government in the Senate House of Assembly came to its climax when some of the members of the House accused the senior assistant to the president of distributing fake copies of the budget proposal. These analysts on our flagship breakfast show says the pronouncement of the missing budget is just a way to blackmail Buhari administration.
The House of Reps says they have the budget and they are going ahead. So I'm very sure that the same version with the House of Reps should be the same version with the Senate. But the Senate did come forward to say that it was missing, or it is missing. Later they said it had been doctored. So where did they get the information from that that document that was declared missing had been doctored? Let's even agree that happened, which I know never did happen, and they're trying to use it to discredit the Buhari administration. Very simple. Let them go and get another copy and carry on with the business of the day.
This other analyst affirms that the federal government should not prolong the actualization of the budget, while it taxed the Senate to make hay while the sun shines.
That we are here for is the 2016 budget, and what is happening in 2016 budget is a sad commentary on the government. It is a difficult thing to support or to talk in good terms with regards to the present government with what is happening with the 2016 budget. They need to put their acts together. It's a failure on their part. It is actually an intention to misinform the public, to misrepresent issues to the public, to deceive the public, and unfortunately it has backfired. And so I think that we shouldn't be playing politics.
Scholars also have this to say.
I don't think at this point in time we need distracted by our lawmakers concerning the missing budget. We've already had enough up and down, and we are expecting them to come, sit down and deliberate on the budget rather than causing another drama entirely.
Any government or governor that is unable to pay workers' salary, I can see that as a devilish act.
However, Nigerians are hopeful that the Senate will clarify issues surrounding the 2016 appropriation bill in order to remain focused on more national issues. Victoria Solomon, CoreTV News, Lagos.
We now take another look on that report about the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, ordering PDP spokesman Metu to be remanded in Kuje prison pending the hearing of his bail application next Tuesday. Metu pleaded not guilty to a 7-count charge bordering on corruption, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The EFCC accused Metu of money laundering involving the sum of 400 million naira, part of the $2.1 billion arms fund, which he allegedly collected from the Office of the National Security Advisor in 2014. The PDP chieftain and the firm Destroy Investment Limited were accused of collecting the money, which was allegedly part of the proceeds of an unlawful activity of the immediate past National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, for PDP political activities. Now, the presiding judge, Abangabong, in his ruling directed Zametu be transferred to Kuje prison from the EFCC custody.
The embattled National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, was brought to the Federal High Court in Abuja with an heavy security cordon. After he pleaded not guilty to the charges against him, his lawyer, Ifedayo Adedipe, asked the court to admit his client on bail. He insisted that the offense Metu allegedly committed is a billable one, citing Section 162 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 to buttress his argument. But the prosecution counsel, Savannah Starr, objected to the bail application, arguing that the defense ought to have applied formally in writing for the bail of the defendant.
The learned trial judge, having considered the position of the law, as his lordship sees it, has directed that a written application for bail be made, and that has been done already by the defendants. And that application, God willing, will be taken on the 19th of this month.
The reason simply is that this is a court of record, superior court of record, a constitutional court. It's not a lower court like a magistrate court. All proceedings of this honorable court are bound by records. That's simply the reason why we insisted that the bail application should be formal, not oral.
Justice Okon Abang will, however, deliver his ruling on January 19, whether or not to admit Metu on bail.
Now, in other news, the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arashi, has ordered that all police officers bearing firearms in the performance of official duties be subjected to psychological test and evaluation to ensure that they are mentally and emotionally fit to perform their duties. The IGP's directive is in a show of concern for the recent extrajudicial killings by some policemen in some parts of the country. In a statement, IGP Arashi notes that the central purpose of this exercise is to offer mental health recommendations that can help restore an officer to job fitness and deploy such policeman to appropriate section he or she is fit to work. The exercise is aimed at eliminating cases of irregularities in handling of weapons by policemen, as well as protecting the public whom the police has the constitutional duty to serve, and not to continue killing innocent and law-abiding citizens. IGP Arashi has therefore directed all police medical doctors across the nation to conduct psychological tests on all policemen bearing firearms in their respective commands every 3 months, noting that if any police officer has a psychological condition or impairment unattended, will impact negatively on the overall performance of the Nigeria police force. And now to Ogun State, where the police detectives attached to Ota Division of the command intercepted and recovered 2 stolen cars that were removed from park in Agege, Lagos State, and arrested 3 suspects at JB Hotel, Abule Rokota in Ado-Odwota local government of Ogun State. The trio were suspected by anti-robbery squad of Ota Division with the help of vigilante services of Ogun State in the area accosted them, and the suspects later confessed to have stolen the cars from park in Agege, Lagos. The 2 recovered cars, Toyota Camry with registration number Lagos KJA 18180 and Toyota Camry with registration number Lagos JJJ 315BZ are now parked at Ota Divisional Headquarters for safekeeping and subsequent release to the owners as directed by the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State, CP Abdul Majid Ali. And now to health. A medical doctor with the Rivers State owned Braithwaite Memorial Specialist Hospital, Levi Ijamala, has died from Lassa fever, bringing to 3 the number of people killed by the disease in the state. The chairman of the state chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, Furo Grain, disclosed that the late Ijamala had contact with some patient infected with Lassa fever. He added that the late medical doctor has been buried in line with recommendations of World Health Organization for death from contagious diseases. Furo further disclosed that a team from the WHO had already visited the hospital for assessment, adding that the hospital had been decontaminated and those who had contact with the late Dr. Ijamala had been placed on observation. We now take another break. When we return from this break, we'll bring you reports from outside the shores of Nigeria and the world of sports. To stay with us.
Whenever you recharge your Airtel line, you could win a trip to Dubai for yourself and your family members or closest pals. Win one of 60 trips for 4 to Dubai in the Airtel Red Hot promo. Now that's a trip for 240 people. You could also be one of the 60 instant millionaires. Win smartphones and airtime. Everyone is a winner. Keep recharging to win in the Airtel Red Hot promo with Emirates Holidays.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV. Leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News, reaching you from a live studio here in Lagos, Nigeria. We now take this report from outside Nigeria. Fighters from the Al-Shabaab group have attacked a base for African Union peacekeepers in southwestern Somalia. The attack started with a suicide car bomb, and then heavy gunfire was heard as fighters stormed into the base and exchanged fire with peacekeepers. Spokesman for the AU mission in Somalia, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Njuguna, disclosed that the troops are fighting the terrorists to push them back, adding that the operation is still ongoing. Al-Shabaab said their fighters killed dozens of Kenyan troops in the attack. However, Somali military has denied the claim. And in sports this evening, Watford FC Dream Premier League season continues as Odion Igalo and Quige Flores were named player and manager of the month, respectively, for December. The Hornets won 3, drew 1, and lost one of the 5 league games in the final month of 2015 as they finished the year in 9th place. After being named Premier League Player of the Month for December, Odion Igalo joins Austin J.G. Okocha and Peter Odenwinye to win the personal accolade. Meanwhile, Igalo beat Mesut Ozil, Marco and Natovic, Riyad Mahrez, Romelu Lukaku and Dele Alli to the Player Award, having scored 5 times in December. The team's impressive performance was enough to see Flores claim the best performing coach in the league. Congratulations to all these people. Now, before we go, a look at our top stories. It's been a pleasure having you join us on CoreTV Primetime News today. Till we'll come your way again with more reports in our subsequent bulletins. Do have a very pleasant night rest. I am Abosedi Omowi.